The notes for today, we're going to look at being able to extract information from sentences, from word problems, from sources where I don't just hand you an equation. Because in the real world, you don't just get handed information. There are people that get paid to just say, what is 2x plus 3 equals 5? And you don't get paid to do that, unfortunately. You do get paid to do things like you did last hour in your science class, to actually take data and make it into something workable, which is some skills we're going to start building today. As a review, let's see, we have keywords. If we see, what are some keywords that we recall from in our past that tell us that we're probably going to have an addition sign going. We're going to have to add something together. Yes? More than. More than is a good keyword. There are other keywords. What are some other keywords that say we're going to probably have to add things together? Some. Some is a very popular keyword. Are there any other keywords for finding addition? Plus. Add. Well, I'm gonna not write down add because that's what we're trying to find. Add obviously it's got to be add. We're not wrong.
Good job.
Those are probably the most popular ones. How about subtraction? What's popular subtraction words? Decrease. Minus. Other subtraction words. Difference. Other subtraction words. Less than. They're probably the most popular subtraction words, other than, obviously, subtract as well. Multiply words. What's a common multiply word? No? Just stretching? Multiply word. Products. Other multiply words. Times. Any other multiply words? That's probably it. I mean, there's some more, but those are the two most that combined with multiply. Divide. What's the division word? Quotient. Quotient. Quotient is probably the most popular. It's either quotient or divided by. Which hopefully you can figure out its division if we use the word divided. So let's see if we can't translate these. 8 times the quantity 4 plus the number n. First of all, before we go much farther, the word quantity is a catchphrase, is a symbol for parentheses, or grouping symbols. Okay? Knowing that, let's see what we can do. 8 times quantity 4 plus number n. What can we do with this? What's the first thing we probably could write down? 8 times. What's times? The quantity. So we should have a group of parentheses. And what goes in those parentheses?
4 plus n.
4 plus n. 8 times the quantity 4 plus n. What's it? Nothing? How about an easy one? 12 decreased by number x. I would go x minus 12. Decrease by is going to be start with something and then take away the next. So I would definitely go 12 minus x in this case. How about the quotient of the square of a number w and 5? So the quotient of, what's quotient going to tell us?
Division.
Division. So we're probably going to have a division symbol. And what are we dividing? Square of a number, W. So what's
W squared?
W squared? And then what is it being divided by? 5. What's another way we could have written this without using that division symbol?
The W squared of like the bar and then 5.
Like exactly is a fraction. Division and fractions are exactly the same thing. That's why they're so nice. That's why we use fractions a lot, because they're symbols for division. So we could write it like this. This is fine. This is also fine. This is probably a better way to write it. This is a more, I guess, quote-unquote advanced way to write it. We don't generally use the division symbol very much, if at all, in algebra. We'll use fraction marks. Write an expression for the length of this building. Well, let's see. We better come up with some variables, because they don't tell us what they're going to be. So what are some things we might want to use as a variable or a symbol here? What are some we want to symbolize? What are some quantities we don't know? What's something we don't know? The length. What do you want to call the length? Okay. I use cursive L, lowercase l. And what's the length equal to? Ooh, what's a key word for equal to? We didn't write that down. We know there's a key word that's in here for the word for equal. Is a huge symbol for the equal sign. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the coming days.
Should we write it down?
But if I were you, if you didn't already know that, if that wasn't something that you recall right away, write that down. The equal is likely an equal sign. So L is, and what is L? 23 more than the width. So how do we write that in symbols? Was it? 20 feet more than the width? More than was an addition sign. So we'll take the width and add 20 to it. And we'd have an expression. An expression is probably going to have variables in it. We'll have an expression for the length of the length. Okay. Since I didn't tell you what the width is and I didn't tell you what the length is exactly, then this is the best we can do. All we can do is leave it as just this expression. If I added a second part and said, now that you know that one of them is something, then we can finish solving, then you could continue. But I didn't tell you any of that. All I wanted to see is an expression. This is probably my favorite one. You and 4 friends meet to have dinner at a restaurant. Everyone decides to order the nightly special. Write an expression for the total cost of the meals. So what are some things we don't know? How much the whole meal costs? What do you want to call the total cost of the meal?
C.
C was popular last hour. I'll stick with C. We'll say C equals cost of the meals. What else don't we know? The cost of what? The cost per meal, the cost of the special. What do we want to call the cost of our nightly special? S for special?
What's that one?
Per. Cost per special.
Yes, right.
So, what is the total cost? What's the expression we can write for the total cost? What were you going to say? And 4 other people are going. That means there are 5 total people eating, and then each of those 5 people will spend S, the cost per meal. This would be a good expression for the cost of the meal. Notice that I labeled what each of my 2 variables stands for. Because if you just threw up C equals 5S, that doesn't tell me anything. I need to know what, if you're going to make up a variable, let me know what it represents. Okay? Or let whoever, yourself remind yourself what the variable represents. Okay. To find the unit rate.
Okay, so we do $2.99 divided by 16 ounces.
So we have $2.99 for 16 ounces, which gives us a rate in general that tells us dollars per ounce. To get a unit rate, though, we have to get how much does 1 ounce cost? So how do we find what 1 ounce is going to cost us?
So $2.99.
Well, if you divide the bottom by 16, what's 16 over 16? 1. So we can turn 16 into 1 by dividing it by itself. So if we divide the bottom, let's divide the top. So you may want a calculator. And let's figure out what is $2.99 divided by 16. So we got this number from our calculator. What's the context of the problem? What is that top number supposed to represent? Cost, and what's cost in cents, dollars and cents, money. So then what would be a common sense way to round this, knowing that this has got to be money? Yep. Round it to the 100th place. In this case, we'll round 6 up to 19, 0.19. So you could say $0.19 per 1 ounce, or 19 cents per ounce would be the unit rate of this box of cereal.